All right, everybody. Welcome to the episode number 4 of the Step One podcast. I am so freaking excited to have this guest on today. The way we met is kind of crazy, and his background is even more crazy, and I'm excited to hear all about it and have him dive into it. But again, the Step One podcast is where we help you take your first step or your next steps in business and in life. And today I'm with one of the top sales and coaching reps at Tony Robbins, Garrett Binder. And before we dive into his story and a little bit about him, I just have some rules and regs or rules and asks of everybody listening today. If you love this information, I would love for you to share it with your friends, your family, the people around you, your network. They need to hear this information, especially today's content, because we have some incredible stuff coming up. Again, knowledge without implementation is just entertainment. So make sure you take notes and then take massive levels of action on all the information you're going to take, all the notes you're going to take on today's session. And again, if you have questions or comments or anything you want us to dive into, please comment down below on the Facebook Live, the YouTube, wherever you see us, you hear us, or get this information. Comment down below. We'll make sure we make future videos and content and get back to you ASAP. So without further ado, let's introduce my guest. So Garrett, he has worked at the international business life coach, Tony Robbins, for over 14 years now. He's worked with hundreds of thousands of clients and has attended every single one of Tony Robbins' events. He's worked his way up to one of the top salespeople in the company. His coaching has directly impacted a multitude of people. And it's also Tony's coaching specifically has impacted his life in a crazy amount of ways, from helping him find his dream career, attract his beautiful wife, help him build financial independence. He's traveled to 38 countries for freak's sake, and he's also multilingual, and he has himself changed the lives and impacted the lives of hundreds of thousands of people. Garrett Binder, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you?
Thank you so much, Henry. Love that. Thank you so much, man. I'm doing great. Great to be here. Thanks again for having me on.
Of course. I love this. I can't wait to hear more about your story. So let's dive into it. I want you to rewind the clocks. I want to learn a little bit more about your childhood, your steps into what got you even into the world of sales. Why Tony Robbins? How did that even begin? And you can go back to as early as you can remember.
Oh man, it's a total complete accident, because that's life. It's just I've adopted that belief now after working for Tony. Life is always happening for us. So it really, truly, I've just kind of always felt that, just kind of going off of my inner clock and just kind of going with whatever my gut feels like. And I was working in TV and film. I went to school for film. I went to film school.
Really?
College, love it up there, upstate New York. Beautiful, beautiful place.
That's right. You're an East Coast guy.
I'm an East Coast guy. I'm from San Diego, but I went all the way east because I just wanted to go to school somewhere far away for 4 years. I knew I would always come back to San Diego. What's not to like about San Diego? And I went to school there. I was working in LA as a camera guy. So I was in the business doing my thing. And I just was looking around going, I can't see myself doing this forever. No offense to anybody in that profession, just wasn't for me. And someone kept talking. I heard probably Tony Robbins' name 3, 4, 5 times until finally I was like, all right, so I better check this guy out. I had no idea anything about personal development, Tony Robbins, none of that stuff, coaching, nothing. And I came home one afternoon, went to go get the mail for my dad. And after about the 4th or 5th person that told me who Tony is, I go open up the mailbox, and right there in the post office in the mail is a flyer that says, Tony's coming to San Diego. And I'm just looked up and I'm like, all right, I get it. I'm going.
I get the sign.
I get the sign. And so I follow the sign. And at that event, Unleash the Power Within, maybe there's people on here listening who've been there before. It is a phenomenal event. It's 4 days. And I just decided on that 4th day, I'm out. I'm leaving the film business. This isn't for me. I just want to help people. But I didn't know what that meant.
How old were you, by the way, when you went to that first event?
24.
24. Okay, cool.
24. So I didn't know what that looked like. You know, a lot of people freak out and they don't do things because they don't see the how. And I didn't know it at the time, but it's so much more about the why than it is about the how. And luckily I made a decision to quit a lucrative career. I was in the union. I was set. I was having tons of work. It was great. And I left and went home, went to a life coaching school. And long story short, someone I met at the event, Unleash the Power Within, recruited me to go work for Tony, and the rest is history. I've been there for 14 and a half years now.
That's incredible, man. And he's had a little bit of an impact on your life, I think.
Just a little bit. Yeah. I've had a coach ever since I joined the company, since they offer that to us for a massive discount. So why would you not take advantage of that? And I've been doing that since I started, been to every event, most of them twice, and just soaking up every single bit of content that I can get while I'm here.
I love it. Okay. So there's so much I want to unpack here. So first and foremost, for those who are super new to who Tony Robbins is and who may have not heard of him, do you mind if you just share a little bit of who he is?
Sure. I mean, if we don't know who Tony Robbins is, he basically is the founder and the creator of the entire coaching industry first and foremost. So he is really the foremost authority on success coaching, mindset coaching, anything like that. Just about how to get to that next level, because he knows he's been doing this for over 40 years. It's crazy. 40 years, 4 decades this guy's been doing this for. But he knows exactly how to get results. So it's really, and it all comes down to your mindset, your psychology, your identity, who you're being, all these things. And he knows how to get results instantly. So it's just, he's the best in the world by far on how to get.
And he's also helped like every international celebrity. I mean, anybody, presidents, CEOs of every company. I mean, it's amazing.
Athletes,
so yeah,
Hollywood stars, yeah, you name it.
Basically, the joke is just Google the guy. I mean, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. You get it. You'll get it.
So let's dive into a few things. So when you went to that very first event when you were 20 something, right? Because I went to my first Unleash the Power Within, I think around the same time, 22, 23, 24. And it was life-changing for me as well. I'm just wondering, was there one thing that you remember from that? Or was there like, what was the feeling afterwards? Unpack that a little bit.
Yeah, honestly, this is something that I vividly remember this part about the event. So when I went to this event, we don't do this anymore, but when I went, it was at a movie theater and it was a recorded event. So Tony wasn't even there. My first event was a digital event. I don't know if you knew that, Henry, or Brandon didn't even know that.
Wow, I had no idea.
So we're in a movie theater with maybe 300 people and we're watching Tony do his event, which some people think, oh, that's not the same thing. Well, it's the same content. It was the same. We had the music, the people were there. So I felt like, hey, I got the full deal. But it was weird. If you've ever been to Unleash the Power Within, especially us dudes, you don't want to get up and like jump. You got to jump and dance and move and shake and all this stuff. And that just was weird, especially for a lot of guys. It's just a little awkward to do that with a bunch of strangers.
Yeah.
And I remember it was probably a day and a half or almost 2 days where I was like really resisting, like, this is just weird. This just doesn't feel right. And I remember that moment in the event where I just said to myself, dude, just fake it till you make it. Just go with it. You're here for 4 days. And I remember telling myself that. And when I did that, it opened me up to absorbing the rest of the information, just receiving what else I got. Without me doing that, I probably wouldn't have even made it through the whole event. I probably would have left early and never, ever would have had the life that I had, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's so important where like so many people, you can call it wanting it, right? Or they show up that first time and then they just don't give it the mental attention, the priority of their focus while they're there, and they don't have the experience they should have. And then they blame the event.
Exactly right. Happens all the time.
I can only imagine. So there's a lot of other things I want to unpack here. So when you were growing up, right? Because I mean, obviously you've built such a beautiful life for yourself and it's something I aspire to do for myself as well. When you grew up, how was it growing? Like, were your parents entrepreneurial? Did your parents big fanatics about self-development? Or is that something you had to teach yourself?
I'm really blessed. I'm one of the few people. I grew up 2 loving parents. They did get divorced at a young age, but I'm really, really fortunate. Both my parents took great care of us, made us a priority. My dad he's retired now, world-renowned ophthalmologist. So he was a surgeon, and was definitely one of the best, if not the best in the world at the time. I don't mind bragging about my pops. He was amazing.
It's all good, man.
That is, he was great. My mom, just an incredible, incredible mom, everything you can want. I was really, really blessed. Neither of them had anything to do with, I mean, personal development wasn't really a big thing. Even when I just got in my early 20s, this is like the early 2000s, coaching was just getting started. People didn't really know what a coach was, so it wasn't really a thing back then. And again, I just kind of fell into it. And I also just fell into my career with Tony Robbins really just by accident almost. It was just somebody called me up and recruited me to work for them. So no, they didn't really help. They didn't push me to do this, but I had a great role model in my dad with his work ethic. He has incredibly high standards for what he does. My mom is is a great person, got a lot out of from her personality. So I do owe them a lot.
That's amazing. So, and I'm actually curious to hear this, right? So you grew up with a father who was sounds like super entrepreneurial, right? Awesome mindset about, I mean, also, I appreciate that he was also, it sounds like a fantastic father as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of people here listening here today, because now you have a son,
Yeah.
and it's obviously very different now because now the roles are kind of reversed. But I'm curious just because in the next 10, 20 years, I definitely want to have a family. And as an entrepreneur myself, it's something that it has always been in the back of my head of like, how do I raise a kid who has my kind of mindset from the get,
Yeah.
or at least I can at least put them on the right path kind of thing. Right. So I'm just curious. I don't know if there's anything you remember from your relationship with your father that maybe stuck out to you, because I know that, like, maybe things that maybe you wish were differently, or things that you're passing on to your son. I'm just curious for you to get your opinion on that.
I'm, the one thing that I love with my dad, what he did was he just kept the lines of communication open. So he and my mom especially, but my dad made a real effort to talk to us, my sister and I, every night. How was your day? What happened? And just have a conversation. So I never ever felt like there was anything that I couldn't talk to my parents about. So that we had that really nice, line of communication open between us. So that part I really, really love and respect. And I want to make that happen with my son, Luca, who is incredible. It's a little different though. Like he said, I want to help. How do I get my mindset into my, with my son, whenever that is. And,
Yeah.
my son's kind of, it's been a little avoidant. He's only 7. He's just turned 7. So he's just a little avoidant of that. I mean, it may be a little too early, but it'll definitely happen for sure.
So is there anything that, and I like that, so I'll take the note down have open lines of communication. I think that's always extremely important.
Great.
What have you also done to make sure you're creating that same mental strength in your son now that you feel like is imperative for his future?
It's also about just examples. And once I started to notice, listen, and by the way, I'm nowhere near the parental expert right now. I'm learning. We're all learning.
No, I'm learning
as
from
we
you, man.
go.
I'm curious
And
what you're doing.
yeah. And, with my son now, I mean, my wife and I both have been reading books about just different ways to parent, and, kind of doing things a little bit differently. I think everybody takes a little bit of how they were brought up. You take, just like anything, you take the best of what you got. Also, you kind of throw away the things that maybe you didn't like or didn't want, and then you can just start playing around with it. And we're reading a couple books just to help us, to help us just talk differently and communicate differently to our son. And it's been working. It's just it's a different world now too, definitely, than when we grew up. So,
So different.
yeah.
So let's unpack a few other things here. So with the coaching world, because you said you had a coach now, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So what specifically does your coach help you with, or like, I'm imagining it's not just business.
No, it's everything. I mean, when and I've had 3 different coaches in my tenure with Tony Robbins, and just because I wanted to just change it up. But one coach that I had, who's now like a brother to me, it would be something different almost, every couple months or so. We just would start talking about one thing, and it'd be go from business focus to then relationship focus, then to health, and to, travel goals, and to finances and whatever. And so it's just, now it's really more, I'm really focusing more on personal things. I'm really happy with my career, happy with business. A lot of things I'm really happy with. Now now it's the fine tuning stuff. So now I'm really working on, if you listen to Tony Robbins, tells a story about a 2 millimeter shift. So it's just the shift, really making it really simple, the difference between great and outstanding. And it's just a little 2 millimeter shift, just a little tiny bit that most people don't do. So I want to really hone in on that, just in terms of personality, emotions, that type of stuff.
I love that. I love that a lot. So let's go into that, because look, you're an extreme, or I guess you are an outstanding performer at where you're at Tony Robbins. And I want to know the difference in your eyes between a great performer, because a lot of people who listen here are solo entrepreneurs of any sort, as well as a lot of real estate agents, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you believe is maybe 1 or 2 things you can point out that is that differentiator between a great performer and an outstanding performer?
That's a great question. And, most people, I think the older I get, the more experience I have, the more people I talk to, it's really just about going the extra mile, putting in the extra, making that extra call. When you think you're exhausted, just keep going a little bit more, do something else. That's one thing. I think having the hunger always of just, wanting to get better. Like, okay, once I hang up a call, and I don't do this every call, but there's most of the calls that I get off, I'm like, great. What was great about that call? What worked? What didn't work? How can I make the next one even better? So if I'm talking to somebody and it just, didn't work, didn't go through, I rubbed them the wrong way or whatever might happen. Okay, where did it go wrong? So I'm always just trying to really think about what I could have done differently that would have served the client differently and help them out and get, to get a different result. It's just, it's a lot of little things like that. It's just really, really honing and fine tuning a lot of those skills. That's it.
So I heard being a forever student. I like that a lot. Being a forever student, and also being a self-critic, and being your biggest source of feedback, and being honest with yourself about it. Because, again, we're the only way you're going to get better is by accepting your current situation and knowing that there is another level and doing something about it.
Absolutely. And I got to add, sorry, Henry, I wanted to add to really that we're all doing the best that we can with the skills, tools, and psychology that we have now.
Yep.
It does sometimes, and this is why I've had a coach for 15 straight years, is that the coaches take the blinders off you because you are only kind of doing this. Like, you've got your blinders on of what you're doing, and you're doing the best that you've got.
Yep.
But it takes somebody else sometimes to go like, dude, you're missing all this stuff over here. What if you just kind of, how else could you do this differently? So I really, really admire and respect all of my coaches, mentors, trainers, anybody, because it gets you to think a little bit outside the box and do something that you never typically wouldn't do.
And it's so fascinating because the next thing we're going to dive into is coaching and why it's so important and other things. Yeah. So I find it so fascinating where so many people we come across. I say the blinders thing too, where you legitimately only see so much of the view. Right. And it's like, you're so blind to think. It's just, like you said, 2 millimeter shift. If you could just see what I can see, the possibilities of your future become limitless.
Right.
And it's like, I'm speaking a different language to these people when you're talking about these things. I never thought it would be, like, oh, I could never do that. Like, it's just fascinating to me how that even becomes a thought in their mind.
Totally.
Right. So, oh man. So, okay, let's dive into this coaching stuff because we're going to start geeking out a little bit. So, so listen, you're working for obviously the greatest business and life coach of all time. I am curious to get your opinion on, like, the people right now that you're working with to, I guess, enroll in coaching with him, right? Mm-hmm. That's sort of what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
I am curious to know, when you're talking to somebody, a new person, brand new, it's not somebody you know anymore, but when you get someone with cold on the phone, what are those 2 or 3 things you're looking for specifically for somebody who would be perfect for this kind of opportunity?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, really, what we always look for, because this coaching, there's a lot of coaches out there. I should backtrack a little bit. A lot of people out there say they're a coach. There's no real certifying board that's out there. Anybody can
I'm an Instagram guru.
Exactly, baby. Yeah, anybody can be a coach these days. That's it. Yep. And so it's really, really difficult. Anybody can go hire a coach and do that. But what we want results. We're actually not called Tony Robbins Coaching Company. We're called Robbins Results Coaching because we're all after the results. So we want to make sure that we're getting the results. We keep track of everything. So the reason I say all that is it's you got to have that desire. So number one, there's got to be some major goals that we're looking for. Everybody I talk to, I want to know that their goals are big enough. Number two, I got to know that they're coachable. I got to know that they're willing to do the work, that they're willing to be open to really being worked on. Number three, there's got to be leverage. There's got to be this, like, it's a must, where a change is a must, not just a should, but I must change now. So those are the 3 things that we're always looking for when we talk to people on the phone. If those boxes are checked, then we can move forward and talk about actually getting somebody a coach.
I think that's so brilliantly said, because so many people, like we said, they want it. Yeah. And it's like, you can give somebody the best plan in the world. And so many people they wouldn't even do it.
Yeah, exactly.
You give them everything that they need. Most people, they won't even follow the plan.
And look, I'm guilty of that. I'm sure we all are. Like, we all have done that, right? But this is also why I have a coach, is that I'm not going to do this consistently all the time. I just know that about myself. So I want somebody who's going to really hold me accountable to get this stuff done consistently. And
100%.
That way I'm not slacking.
So then let's dive into this. And just to clarify, you're saying that if I put the word life coach in my Instagram handle, that doesn't make me qualified?
Hey, you do you. It's all good.
It's like, I feel like you said before, anybody in the world can put the word a life coach in their Instagram handle, and they're immediately quote unquote qualified in their eyes to do so. And I was the kind of person where when I was younger, I wanted to create a business consulting agency because I became obsessed with how business works and the intricacies behind it. I think it's so fascinating even to today. And then I said to myself, who the heck's going to listen to a 22 or 23-year-old business coach? And I said to myself, I'm going to go build it for myself first. I'm going to go become wildly successful first. And then I'm going to go back once I've built a brand for myself, results for myself, and then go to help people.
Yeah.
And I feel like so many people miss that step before they just become a coach.
You know what's great? Can I interrupt real quick?
Sure.
You said something in there that you have this belief that I was too young, people wouldn't listen to me. So the question that I've been trained really to kind of ask myself now, this has kind of been ingrained in me, is just the question, is that really true? And maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but ask yourself, because I'm sure a lot of people out there listening, we've all felt the same way. Am I really qualified for this? Is this really the right time? Is this, is that really true? Ask yourself that question. If it's not 1,000,000% factual, then let's relook that. And this is a perfect example of a coaching.
I'm being coached right now. Listen, it is accurate. And I just look at it like I wanted to prove to myself that I could follow the plan.
Absolutely.
Right. And then go off and then show people the results first.
I love it.
So yeah, because it's funny because I feel like everyone gives me the same excuse when I'm coaching younger people in the real estate world. But let's talk. Okay, so let's dive into the next part here. So actually, this is I'm going to be a little selfish, and I got to ask for the realtors on the phone here, or on the call, or on the Zoom, or on the YouTube. So for people who are getting into the world of real estate, or let's just call it sales, right? Okay. What do you feel like would be some pieces of advice of just getting started that they can get to where you are faster?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't even look at it like where I'm at. But I appreciate that. I think honestly with sales it's such a transference of emotion and energy. And I really believe like half, if not more than a half of my success in my career in sales has just been built off of rapport building. So to get started, if you're not already outgoing, if you're not already just a master at just building rapport, you got to get that down. Just being able to connect with people. And so from different cultures, even if it's just knowing a couple words in someone's native language, just that's a quick way to connect. But just being able to be yourself and connect with people and build rapport instantly is such a skill. And that right off the bat, when people feel like you're relatable, they can trust you, you're a likable person, that's half the game right there, if not more, I think. So I really believe that's number one. And again, shameless plug with some of Tony's skills. If you guys haven't never listened to his audio program called Mastering Influence, it's a great program. It's a 10-step program on sales skills. And they talk about
unbelievable program.
It is an unbelievable program. It really is. So it talks about rapport building and how to do that in several different ways in there.
Well, I was going to dive into that actually really fast. So I took a quick note of rapport building. Mm-hmm. I was going to write down for rapport building, just for people listening here today, my three steps for that one would be smile. Mm-hmm. Smile, big smile always. Smile and eye contact would be number one. Number two is high energy, have incredibly high energy. And then number three, ask a ton of questions.
Pretty much.
That really boils it down. I know Tony's going to dive way deeper than I ever could, but for me, those are three main things that I focus on.
And I noticed that with you too. When we first talked, it wasn't just you talking about how great you were. I've never got that from you in any of our interactions. It's always been a total pitch and catch with genuine curiosity. It's not, you said asking questions. That's true. But ask genuine questions. Genuinely want to get to know who that other person is that you're talking to. That's a huge, huge thing. And I always felt that with you.
Love that. I appreciate that, man. And listen, for a lot of these people who are connecting, because and I'm glad we're talking on this point a little bit, because a lot of these people, even, call it through COVID or whatever you want to say, where they're not face to face or screen to screen, where you see that person, you have to step up your energy level to make up for that.
Yeah. Big time.
And I feel like, you can't just get on the phone like, hey, how are you? Whatever. Like, people are attracted to high energy, and you got to work on that.
100%. And it's on the phone. I don't know most of the people now in real estate, during the pandemic, if you had to do everything via Zoom or phone calls, that takes even more energy when you're not face to face with somebody. To use your voice and your inflection and your tone and all of that stuff. You got to really, really hone in on that. So that was a gift for me too. I've always been working from home, but even when I made the move I was on the events team with Tony selling his events for 13 years or 12 years, moved over to coaching. Now we're having a real in-depth 1 hour conversation where you got to be on the whole time. And it's a very different thing. So you had to really, really work on your everything you just said, your energy, tone, inflection, all that stuff all the time.
I think it's so important. So, okay. So we got massive rapport building and building up we call it building a network. What's another thing that somebody could be doing if they're just getting started in sales?
I think it's also, I mean, again, getting started in sales in general, I would love to try to make this specific to real estate too, but I think just really genuinely understanding and appreciating the other person's world. So first, because you can't influence somebody while you're judging them. So if you can really understand where they're coming from, who they are, really try to understand what are their real true needs. So, and that all happens by questions and just conversation, right? So if you're just getting to understand and appreciate their world, where they are, where they're coming from, what's their situation currently, then you're able to really make that connection, make that in just by asking a couple of different questions.
I love that so much. Seriously. Like, I feel like not enough people put themselves in that person's shoes and really understand how they're feeling, what they're going through, understand their situation at a high level, and they just keep pitching.
I'll tell you this. So I'm just getting into, this, Enrique, because we've talked about this, but I'm just getting into investing now as a real estate investor.
Yep.
And I'm getting connected to people all over the country that I'm meeting on Bigger Pockets or just friends of friends or whatever. And I'm hypersensitive to this stuff because obviously it's what I do. But I mean, almost everybody, I would probably say with maybe not maybe you are, maybe I think the only guy that I've talked to so far where there's been a genuine interest in who I am, what I'm doing. Everybody else, you hop on the phone. This is property managers. This is other investors, wholesalers, anybody out there. They just go straight into their own, like, this is what I do. This is it. They sound bored. They sound like, well, this is this, that, what, do you want it or not? I don't care. And there's just zero interest in who I am or what I'm doing. And I would be your typical, you're probably, I would think, your ideal client, somebody who's new, who's hungry, who wants to get in there, who's got some money to go and invest. Why not really get to know who that person is on the other line? It's really blown me away who these people are, but it tells you about kind of the state of what's happening. So
I couldn't agree more. And it's fascinating because, like, I feel like I've always been like that, where it's like, no matter what I've sold or what position I've always been in, it's always about the other person. Always.
Has to be.
Because I know that it always becomes a win-win when the client wins, because when the client wins, they end up working with me, I win. So, but it's like, you have to fit the product to the person. I'm not trying to fit, I'm trying to fit you in, like, figure out what works for you so I could fit you with the right product, the right service, not the other way around. I'm not trying to cram you into something or cram the product into you. It just doesn't make any sense. Right. So I also, so the next section here, I call it the rapid fire questions because it's the same couple questions that I ask every single guest. So I'm super excited to hear your feedback on these. All right. Okay. So number one is, if you had to restart today, dead zero, no money in the bank, no connections, no nothing, and you were starting brand new at Tony Robbins today, what are the first three things you're doing immediately to rebuild your business?
I would go to the top producers. I would listen to them. I would understand what they're doing. I would go right to the people who are already getting the best results. That's number one. Number two, I would still go get a coach. I would go talk to any of the trainers in the company. Again, what makes this person successful? What's the ingredients of this? Just so I get a background of that. Thirdly, I would just bust my ass. Just go out there and work hard. Like, it's the key. You got anytime you start, because that's just experience too. You got to learn on the job. A lot of the times you can get all the training, read all the books, you can do all that stuff that you want. But if you're not actually doing it and putting it into action, you're not going to get the results. So that would be it. Definitely just find top producers. Success leaves clues. Find the people who are already doing what you want to do. I still do that. In fact, I've always been like that. And this is not tooting my own horn. I've just always been on any team I've ever been on. I know there's always somebody out there who can do something better than I can, and a lot of things. And so I want to go and find out what that is and always pick their brain. So I'm always kind of in that school of, like, listen, I'm a student. I am, like you said, I forget the word. Would you say a never-ending student?
A forever student.
Yeah. Forever student. Yeah. So that's it. That's what I would do.
Yeah. I love that so much. And I think so many people don't, it's like, it's right in front of you. Like, why are you not going after these people and just asking simple questions and then modeling success? I mean, have anybody ever wondered why franchise models are 80+% more, successful year after year after year instead of a new business that gets started, which has a 3% or 4% success rate over 3 years?
Yeah.
It's because they follow a proven model. It's not rocket science.
Totally.
I mean,
Exactly.
you don't have to make this all it's like people want to do this all on their own for some reason. Like it's like a pride thing or an ego
Right.
thing. Like follow, like this is what it's funny because it's like this is also what people have been doing for years.
Yeah.
It's like you're not going to come up with, unless you're in like the tech world, I guess, but like you're not going to come up with some revolutionary new business model that no one's ever done before. I mean, like
That's the thing. It's not rocket science, and nothing. That's when, and again, with Tony, with what Tony Robbins teaches, that was kind of one of the things that I remember coming back from my first event. I was just like everybody, you come back from Unleash the Power Within and you're like
on
so
fire.
pumped up and on fire, and you want to share all these things. And at 24 years old, it was like my mind was just like, it exploded because I'd never heard this stuff before, but none of it was really rocket science. There was nothing totally out of the blue, like, oh my God, this Tony guy's a genius. He just makes it so simple to really implement and integrate into your life. And it just makes it like, oh my God, this is easy. And I think that's his biggest gift is he's an amazing presenter, amazing speaker, but he really makes it so easy to really like implement it into your life.
Yeah, those are the best teachers, I guess, right? The best
Totally.
teachers, the best coaches, when you can take the complicated and make it simple. So I think that's powerful. So awesome on that one. So, all right, next one. Now, this one's going to be a really impactful thing for me. If today was your last day, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Today was your last day and you had this very moment to give some advice to Luca, to your family, to the people around you, what would it be?
God, that's a great question. I think, the first thing that pops in my mind is just be true to yourself. I think listen to your gut. I am also a firm believer. We're guided, I believe, and it doesn't matter what religious beliefs or anything that you have. I just believe we're all guided, and I think we all got to trust our own inner voice and listen to that, and really just be true to who you are, and just seek the truth, seek knowledge, and just keep learning. That's it. I guess that's my advice. If I had to, then I'm out. Bye, Luca. Mic drop. That's it.
I love that so much. All right, next one. So, if what would you say? Because I feel like this is something that hit home or is going to hit home for me, because I went through a crazy depression and all these other, dark mental places that I was at when I was growing up. And I feel like now more than ever, mental health has become so prominent. And Tony changed my life, and I'm so in debt to him. And I'm curious to get your opinion, because you've surrounded yourself with some incredible people and you get to hear Tony Robbins literally every second of the day. So I'm curious to say, if someone was out there struggling mentally, financially, whatever the case may be, let's just say this person's super close to you and coming to you and confiding in you, what is some advice you're going to give to that person?
I would just say that, first of all, the one reason I think, and I'll take this directly from Tony, when people get into a depression, they're in that really dark place. I know we've probably all been there before in some way, shape, or form. Usually it's because we feel like it's a problem that's going to be persistent. Like this isn't going away, that we don't feel like there's an end. Like this is what life is. So I would first remind people, it isn't permanent. This problem is not permanent. Once you think it's permanent, you're screwed. If you think that there is no out and there's no change, you've stuck yourself in a hole. So I would remind people, A, it's not permanent. Number two, we have a choice. Suffering's a choice. Even though what's going on in our world and you could have some horrific things happening to you, some terrible, and believe me, I've heard some horrific things from people that your worst nightmares couldn't even tell you. I mean, it's really insane how bad things have happened. Understanding, having the ability to take a step out of it and go, okay, yes, this has happened, but it's in the past now. And now what am I going to go do about it? What's the meaning that I'm giving this thing? Because in life, there's the real thing. And this is such a gift also I've learned from Tony, and I've learned, really from all my teachers, but you only have 3 things that you can really control in life. And that's number 1, what are you focused on at any moment in time? Where is your focus? Number 2, what are you making that mean? Whatever you're focusing on, is it that event that happened and you're focusing on that and how bad it is and how your wife left you or blah, 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 whatever it is, where's your focus? What do you make it mean about you? And number 3, what are you going to do about it? And that's really all we have total control over. So just choosing in that moment, no matter how bad things are, You have a choice of where you put your focus. And that doesn't mean ignore the problem. It doesn't mean sweep it under the rug and just hope it goes away and that's it. It means you can choose to stay in a suffering state and stay depressed and stay where you're at, or you can choose to look at what is great, because we're all still here. We're all breathing air. Most of us, and if not all of us who are listening, have a house, a roof under our heads. We got beds to live in. We got food to eat. There's a million things you can be happy for and grateful for if you just put your mind to it. And when you start focusing on that, the different things start happening.
Everyone listening here today, rewind that last few minutes. I mean, wow. Rewind that and listen to that over and over and over again until you can embody what he just said. There's so much power behind that. And coming from, even just my own personal experiences, I can't express to the people listening and watching enough, depression, when you said permanency, where people think, their situation is permanent, that is where I believe people become stagnant. People become trapped. People become, so overwhelmed and to the point where it's like this analysis paralysis thing, right?
Yeah.
And they don't do anything about it, and they just keep in this spiral effect, right?
Yeah.
And I was in that so much because you think you can't get out of it.
Right.
And I think it's so powerful because I even look at my own life now, and I'm telling you, there's times recently where I catch myself tearing up in the car because of just me realizing how amazing my life is.
Oh yeah.
And from where it was. Yeah. And it's just such a beautiful thing to look back at. But when you said suffering is a choice, I mean, wow. I got goosebumps when you said that, because everything in life, I truly believe, is a choice.
Yeah.
Every bit of emotion is a choice. And when you said that, it hit home for me so much. And I want people to realize every bit of what you're feeling today is okay. However, it's how you react to those emotions that will alter your life, negatively or positively.
Totally.
And I think that's, oh man, so powerful.
Thank you. And that may trigger people because, you hear people that, this person left me and he took all my money and they did this and they did this to my kid. And yeah, that's all true. And these are horrific things that have happened, and it's okay. And now what? It doesn't mean that you can't sit there. You should do that. It's not healthy to just forget about it, but let's just sit with it for a second. And then that at any moment you can change, you could snap out of it if you want to. And this is look, for most people, they're not used to doing this. It's easier said than done for a lot of people. This takes conditioning. I'm not just hearing Tony say this on an audio and I just instantly implemented this. It's everything that we talk about, everything I'm sure that you do, what got you your success, doesn't just happen overnight. It takes conditioning and consistent work on it. So
1,000%. And it's funny because now everyone looks at me like I'm Mr. Solution, because I cannot dwell on an issue. Yeah. I just act immediately.
Right.
I don't know how else to be anymore. The second a person comes, and I'm a firefighter all day long. That's what happens when you're CEO of a company. You just everyone comes to you with problems, right, quote unquote, and I just have to put them out, right? I'm a firefighter. So it's just how fast can you act appropriately to the situation. Yep. And alter the issue. Because trust me, there's been moments in my life where, even recently, where I feel like the whole world is against me. Yeah. And in a very moment, you can feel the pressure. Yeah. And then and don't get me wrong, I'm right there with everyone. I'd want to curl up in a fetal position and cry about it in my bed a little bit. And then I kind of go yeah, of course I have that feeling, but that doesn't solve anything. The problem's still there, and it doesn't affect anything. It doesn't affect anything. No, so I have to go do something about it immediately. And what's funny is all of a sudden, if you go do something about it positively, now it's been resolved. It might not be immediately, but at least you're getting closer, or it gets resolved, and then the life goes back to being beautiful again.
100%. And maybe an actionable step that whoever's listening and whoever's going through something right now is you just said it. When that happens, again, you got the choice of what to do, but then just do something about it. Even if that something is just changing your state, your physical state. So instead of lying in the fetal position and crying or whatever, get up and walk around, go for a run, go listen to music, jump, do something, dance. That's going to make you feel different. Because again, that's a big tool that Tony uses at his events is the music. It gets you to feel really good. And there's a reason that he does that. So even if it's just you getting up and moving and doing something different, you're going to feel different. When you feel different, you're going to make different decisions. And from that place, that's where magic happens.
I'm going to let you answer this one. So what kind of state does that put you in?
What, the dancing state?
Yeah. What is that? What kind of state does that put you in?
Man, the times where I can really let go, because my big thing is I still get in my head a lot. So if I can really let go and just feel fun, I'm goofy, I'm silly, I'm fun, I'm playful. It just makes me I'm just fun. I just am carefree and fun and silly and goofy. And Brandon's seen that side of me a lot. Your buddy Brandon, he's seen that side of me a lot, I think.
Yeah. So, and Tony talks about being in a peak state. So what does that mean to you? Because like, I know, I don't think anybody really understands that. And I feel like I've been in that kind of state for the last few years now, and it's a beautiful thing. So talk about it a little bit.
I think everybody's got a different definition for them of what peak state means. I think when Tony talks about it, it just means feeling really good, just getting yourself. He talks about like making a move, something powerful that you can do that you're gonna anchor into feeling like, oh, like I've got that certainty. Really, it's like feeling certain about something. For me, I think I would also liken it, if anybody's a sports fan, being in the zone. It's just feeling like you are flowing or in flow. A lot of people use that word of being in flow. When you can just go with it and you're connected, you're not worried about what people think of you or anything like that, and you're just flowing, and you've got your energy, and you're feeling really good and happy, and you're present. I think that's it. I think that's what to me a peak state is.
I love that so much. So before we go into the last of the rapid questions here, I want to give you a quick plug. So listen, for everyone listening here today, if you think you have that next level in you, right? If you want to tap into that next version of you, right? If you feel like you're committed enough, Garrett has been so kind enough to offer a free coaching session for a select few of you. So you have to take massive action and make sure you make the phone call today. You're going to reach out to Patrick at 858-256-1594. Again, reach out to Patrick at 858-256-1594. Patrick's going to get you on the phone with Garrett sometime in the next few weeks. And we're going to get you a free coaching session only if you take massive action today. And I appreciate you doing that for our listeners. That means a lot to me.
Oh, my pleasure. Happy to help. I just want to say, I'm more than happy to offer this to you listening, taking action today to do this. I want to be really clear though. These are powerful sessions. They are going to go deep, and they likely, and I hopefully will be the best call that you've had in your own personal development, at least this year, hopefully forever. So call me only if you're really serious about really moving and growing. Okay. That's the one thing I'll ask of you. If you're serious about this, please, then let's do it. If not, it's totally cool. We can do it another time, but if those people who are absolutely dead serious about it, it could be some real massive growth here.
And I'll put all the links necessary and all the information necessary for those of you who are committed. We'll put that all down below or in the video. So no problem, man. So last question of the rapid fire. What is one skill or one habit that you are working on currently, or that you have felt like it's been a game changer in your business?
Oof. Man, oh, that's a really good question also, because there's so many. I think, again, this might sound so simplistic, but a lot of these answers are, it's energy. It's in the beginning of every call I come to. So right before I hop on a call, there's a couple things that I do. So before I jump on a call with somebody, first of all, I just ask for guidance. I usually just kind of take a second and breathe deeply and just go, okay, use me, guide me, help me serve this client at the highest level, whatever that means. And I'll just kind of ask for that. I do some priming in the morning, which Tony talks about as just kind of your morning meditation routine. But I'll take a breath. I'll ask for some guidance. And while I'm on that call, the very first thing that I want to do is build that instant rapport in that connection. So I really, really want to just make it fun, light, playful. If I'm not making at least one joke in the first minute with somebody, something's off. So I want to have them smiling, laughing, feeling really good in the first minute, where we can just connect and then go deep and get started. That's kind of what I think that's what I would do.
That's powerful. Look, guys, it really, so much of sales is just energy. Mm-hmm. It's just energy. And you could be a terrible salesperson, but have killer energy and just so excited, alive, and just ready to rock and roll. And you're going to sell people.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to make connections. You're going to excel. It is so much about the mindset you go into that call with and the energy behind it. Because again, like we were talking about before, especially when you're in sales, people don't see you. You're not face to face with them, but people buy into your energy.
Oh yeah.
Right? Almost more than anything.
Oh, definitely. Oh, it's so important. And I've told people from day one, and I still believe this. You think of a typical salesperson as like a closer, and they're in your face, or they're direct. I'm not that guy. I don't do that. And I just feel like if I operate from that place of I genuinely do want to help. That's why I love what I do. That's why I've been with Tony for 14 years. I love helping people. I know what we do works, and I know that this is going to help people change lives. I've seen the movie play out, as I say all the time. So it's an honor for me to be there, but I know that this is where I need to be, and this is where I belong. And I can think, if I know that what I'm going to do here, and as long as it's going to serve you genuinely, because there are some people where I will tell them, I don't think this is right for you. I don't think you're ready, or I don't think this is the right fit for you. This may not be what you're looking for. I absolutely have those conversations. But if I'm always putting the client first, thinking about their needs, not my needs, it's going to be a great call no matter what happens.
I think that's amazing. I love all that. I think that it's funny because, for so many of us, for people getting into sales, look, pressure, right? Pressure is part of the sales process. It is. Like, it just is. And I think that people need to be okay with having some level of pressure. Like, at the end of your calls, as much as that you're like, this is not like a pushing somebody to do something they don't want to do. This is just you need to close somebody who's right there, right? Pressure is okay. Pressure is supposed to happen. And it's asking a powerful question. That's all sales is. It's just asking powerful questions in a systematic way, script. Asking powerful questions in a systematic way that is going to end with a result. That's all sales is, right? And you're bringing somebody through that process. So I think that's really powerful to just make sure that people are paying attention to that. Let's go into last parts here. So we have Q&A. We have some questions that are going to be coming up. So you can bring here. Just give me some of these questions. But real quick question that I know that was asked. What is the best event somebody should start with at Tony Robbins?
Well, that's a great one. I think most people would answer Unleash the Power Within. That's where most people start, just because it's offered more often. It's more in depth, or excuse me, it's 4 days. It's quote unquote, the first step event. But if you were to ask me, if I had to choose just one event, if there was only one event that I could do with Tony, and I needed, if there was just one and that was it, there is no doubt in my mind, Date with Destiny is the best event, hands down, anybody could ever do. And I don't care who you are or where you're at in life. There are things that Tony does. It's a 6-day event, and we go so deep into why you do what you do. And if anybody out there watched the documentary, I Am Not Your Guru on Netflix, you got to see that little documentary about that event. But there is nothing on this planet that is more powerful than those 6 days in terms of your growth and personal development than Date with Destiny.
And I've been to both, and I could not agree more. Without a hesitancy of a doubt.
Yeah.
And I've said this hundreds of times. I would not be who I am today without going to both of those events.
No doubt.
Like,
absolutely.
Life changing.
100%.
And it just, and I'll give a quick plug. And this is not like, this is who I am today. So I'm so ultimately grateful. And if you don't go to these events, I think you're honestly just missing out. At Unleash the Power Within, it kind of was like the start, right? And it kind of got you it wasn't just, it's not a motivational thing, but it was like the scratching the surface of, wait, there's a lot more possible with my life.
Yeah. And
the Date with Destiny is sort of just completely rewiring how you look at everything.
Totally. 100%. And if you use the iceberg analogy, UPW, it does get you to make a couple decisions. It does give you a lot of tools that you can instantly implement, and you're going to feel great afterwards. Date with Destiny is that bottom 90% of the iceberg, where you go into your own unconscious rules of how you've now kind of set yourself up. And when you can actually see this stuff written down on a giant piece of paper of how you're wired and
I still have
why
mine.
You do it. Yeah, I do too. It's up there. It's why I do what I do.
Yep.
It's like, oh my God, I get why I have the results in life I do. I get why this happens now. And then you're empowered to make that change, and he tells you exactly how to do it. And you can't even walk out the door until you've literally proven to your team that you have now rewired yourself. There's a whole system on how they do it there.
You will not recognize yourself after that event. That's for sure.
Totally.
So I love that. So let's next one here. What is an old belief that you used to believe that you no longer have?
That's a good question. I think a lot of the times I would feel a lot. I really used to operate a lot more from like a making people happy and pleasing and doing things for other people more, to just, from that, that pleasing place. I've worked on that a lot and tried to let go of, I don't need you to like me. I don't need you to, you can, I want to earn your respect, but you don't have to like me. I don't need that anymore as much as I used to. I think just feeling like a belief that I used to have, just that like kind of, it was like I was never enough. I was never good enough. I never felt like I was enough. For some reason, it just felt like I just never. And so that's taken a lot of work. I'm still working on that one, but that's been chiseled away at for years also.
Dude, you and I are so alike. I can't even explain it. Like I used to say that all the time. Like I felt like I was worthless.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have any worth whatsoever.
Right.
And all I wanted to ever be, and I wrote this down 100 times, that I just wanted to be worth a damn. Just wanted to be worth a damn. Like I felt like legitimately like my life meant nothing to anybody. Right. And life would just go, it would have zero impact. And wow. I mean, because I've had to work on all of those things. And now it's like when I'm such a giver, and it has nothing to do with the other person. It's just so much like, it's almost like a selfish giving because I just love doing it so much, and it's like, feels weird not to do it.
Totally, man.
Yeah, it comes from a way different place in my heart now.
Oh, great. Love it.
So I love that, man. Yeah, sure. I appreciate that. So I'm going to wrap up this session because I know you got to jump, and I appreciate your time so very much today. So last thing I want to leave off with everybody here is just maybe one last little push for them to give you a call. Like, it just because I really want people to understand, like, and again, not only is it a free coaching session, but like it will be the start of a different version of you that you deserve.
Yeah.
Your family deserves it.
If you take action, if you do something about it, right? Because listen, I'm guilty of this. I've been guilty of this my entire life. I know we all are, there's a lot of free stuff out there, a lot of things that we do, and we feel like we're doing good because we're just taking action. Like, I listened to an audiobook today, or I did this and that. But the difference is when you can start doing something consistently and really investing in yourself. That's been the biggest key for me too. Again, I never would have done this. I would not have done what I've done in my life without having a coach on my team. And this is, if I didn't work for Tony, I would say the same exact thing. It is the difference that has helped me get consistent growth for my entire life, is just having somebody in my corner that I can just kind of talk to. And my coach probably knows more about me than my wife does in some areas. I mean, we go really, really deep in a lot of areas. And there's no doubt about in my mind, I would not be where I'm at without really focusing on myself and investing in myself and working on a coach. So really, if you are serious about this, I'm more than happy to give an hour of my time. These sessions normally are a half an hour. I like going a full hour. I want to go deep. I want to really go and really deliver an amazing, amazing session where we'll really create some juice in here. And that's great. That could be a great call, and that's all you do. That's great. Hopefully there's a lot more than that. Hopefully it involves really working with somebody long-term. So we'll be happy to help anybody that is looking forward to really, really changing things up a little bit.
I love it. And again, call Patrick, his assistant, at 858-256-1594, 858-256-1594. Again, we'll put all the contact information below. Listen, guys, a coach sees what you can't see. A coach will hold your hand through the process and guide you through your life. A coach is somebody you can confide in forever. The best of the best in every industry, in every facet of life, have a coach. Why don't you? It'll be the best investment you'll ever make. And I'm going to leave you all with this. Thank you so much for listening to episode 4 of the Step 1 podcast. I greatly appreciate it. We hope this episode gave you the ideas, the motivation, the strategies needed to help you take your first step or your next steps in business and in life. Go out there and crush it, everyone. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much, Garrett.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you guys for listening.